March 2026. The global economic map is not just being redrawn, it is being fractured. In the 20th century, nations projected power through oil pipelines and naval choke points. In the 21st, power flows through a substance so common it forms the foundation of our sand, yet so complex it pushes the limits of human physics: silicon. Semiconductors are the invisible foundation of modern civilization. They are the neurons of artificial intelligence, the muscles of electric vehicles, and the nervous system of advanced military hardware. From the F-35 fighter jet, executing billions of calculations per second, to the smartphone in your hand, every piece of technology hinges on these microscopic etched pathways. But the entire semiconductor value chain is a fragile monopoly. The highest margin, most advanced logic chips, sub-5 nanometer FinFET or GAA, gate-all-around architectures, are made by just one company on one island, TSMC in Taiwan. In 2026, this is the paramount strategic vulnerability. The silicon shield that protected Taiwan from decades of political aggression is now cracking under the intense pressure of a multipolar world order. A blockade, whether a surgical naval quarantine or a direct full-scale invasion, is the ultimate doomsday scenario for the global tech economy. This is the world's architect, Strategic Briefing. We are not analyzing market corrections. We are decoding a total structural realignment of wealth, war, and technology. The defining economic lesson of the 2020s was that globalization is not resilient. The supply chain shocks of 2020 and the energy weaponization of 2022 shattered the illusion that efficiency outweighs security. In 2026, we have entered the era of chip nationalism. Nations are no longer asking if they should localize production. They are competing on how fast they can build domestic end-to-end ecosystems. This is a multi-hundred-billion-dollar geopolitical arms race, fueled not just by economic competition, but by deep-seated defense anxiety. The U.S. CHIPS and Science Act has gone from a legislative framework to a sprawling industrial reality. More than $52 billion in direct incentives are flooding into U.S. domestic manufacturing, with giants like Intel deploying its 1.8A process node and TSMC building massive advanced fabs in Arizona. Simultaneously, the European Union is executing its own version, aiming to capture 20% of global chip production by 2030. China, however, is playing a different game. Facing US-led export controls on advanced extreme ultraviolet lithography, Beijing is heavily subsidizing its domestic champions like SMIC and Huawei, aiming for complete self-sufficiency in foundational trailing-edge logic, 28 to 65 nanometer, and aggressive localization of memory chips. This is not a static technology sector. It is the new Cold War, and the weapon is innovation. Why is Taiwan the center of this geopolitical maelstrom? It's not just TSMC. The entire TSMC ecosystem, from its pure-play logic fabs, gigafabs, to its specialized advanced packaging facilities, using CoWoS or chip-on-wafer-on-substrate technology, is concentrated in a few highly vulnerable geographical clusters like Hsinchu and Tainan. In 2026, the risks are multifaceted. Naval quarantine. A targeted surgical quarantine of Taiwan's ports could instantly halt all chip shipments without triggering a full-scale kinetic war. This would catalyze a cascading global economic shutdown, with logistical paralysis hitting automotive, aerospace, and consumer electronics industries within weeks. Retaliation. In the event of an invasion, China could seize TSMC's gigafabs as a strategic prize. This, however, is a high-risk gamble. The fabs are living organisms, requiring continuous specialized chemicals, extreme ultraviolet light sources, and critically, thousands of TSMC's specialized engineers. If any part of this fragile ecosystem is broken, the fabs become immediate multi-billion-dollar graveyards. For nations like Japan and South Korea, which hold critical positions in the upstream of the chip supply chain, such as photoresist chemicals and advanced logic design, this chaos is a severe existential threat. A TSMC shutdown would instantly freeze their own electronics export engines. The entire Indo-Pacific prosperity model is built on Taiwanese silicon stability. For the global investor, the chip wars are not a single sectoral bet. They are a matrix of risk and opportunity across the entire geopolitical landscape. Your portfolio must reflect this. 1. The onshoring champions. As chip nationalism accelerates, the companies building the physical fabs in the US and Europe become mandatory long-term plays. The winners are not just chip makers, but the capital equipment providers that sell the ultra-advanced lithography and etching tools. Companies like ASML, Netherlands, and Applied Materials, US, possess an unbreakable moat. No new fab can be built without their machines. 2. High-moat leaders. Focus on companies with specialized logic or analog chips that are difficult to replicate. NVIDIA, for AI and data centers, and Texas Instruments, for automotive and industrial analog, hold massive intellectual property, IP, and integration advantages. 3. The geopolitical hedges. Continued diversification into US big tech, Alphabet, Microsoft, provides portfolio resilience. These companies have the cash reserves to vertically integrate, build their own chips, and the market dominance to absorb short-term supply chain disruptions. In times of extreme volatility, capital flows to quality, and US big tech is the ultimate quality hedge. The chip wars are not an isolated event. They are a structural signal, a direct result of globalization's fracture and the return of systemic nation-state competition. The winner of this silicon siege won't just control technology. They will possess the definitive strategic leverage of the 2030 decade. We are not witnessing an industry cycle. We are witnessing the localization of localized complexity. This is part 1 of our multi-part deep dive into the chip wars. In part 2, we will look closer to home, dissecting India's $10 billion PLI gamble and how New Delhi is turning geopolitical risk into a multi-decade industrial opportunity. What is the single biggest risk in your technology portfolio right now? Are you betting on a quick resolution of Taiwan tensions, or have you already shifted capital toward the onshoring enablers? Share your strategy in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join our Telegram channel for daily tactical breakdowns of this volatile sector. This is the world's architect. Build wealth. Build security.